The greatest illusion avoidants sell is their physical presence. They are there, but not really there. You must recognize the most cunning trick of the avoidant. They disappear while standing right in front of you. Their body remains in your space, but their soul, their emotion, their presence, vanishes quietly. This is no accident. This is strategy. They attend your celebrations, but don't feel the joy. They sit across the dinner table, but don't meet your gaze. They nod in agreement, but avoid commitment. You ask, "What's wrong?" They reply, "Nothing." Yet everything in your heart screams that something is missing. This is emotional withdrawal without physical absence, and it is engineered to confuse you, not comfort you. In the same way a great magician distracts the eye, the avoidant distracts your logic. They know that the body is proof, so they use it to escape accountability. You begin to second-guess your own intuition. Maybe I'm just being dramatic. You're not. You're being emotionally starved while they hold the spoon. Understand this principle. Proximity is not intimacy. A body does not equal a bond. Napoleon Hill once wrote, "There is no hope of success for the person who does not have a central purpose." In love, that purpose is connection. When a partner stands beside you but does not reach into your world with emotion, they are not fulfilling that purpose. They are withholding themselves from you while making you feel ungrateful for noticing. This is how avoidants create distance, not by leaving but by fading. In the absence of words, the avoidant controls the story. Silence is not always golden. Sometimes silence is a weapon, a cold, deliberate sword sharpened to cut connection. The avoidant uses silence not to calm storms, but to create them. When confronted, they don't fight, they retreat. But this retreat is not surrender, it is dominant. Yet in disguise, they know the mind of an emotionally aware person craves resolution, seeks understanding, hungers for peace. And so they give you none. No closure, no explanation, just silence. Why? Because silence puts the burden of discomfort on you. You start wondering, did I push too hard? Was I being needy? Should I have stayed quiet? Now understand the manipulation. They said nothing, but you feel guilty. They walked away, but you're apologizing. They ignored your needs, but you're compromising your truth. Napoleon Hill taught that knowledge, when organized and directed toward a goal, becomes power. Avoidants organize their silence not toward peace, but control. Each unanswered message, each withheld word, each ghosted moment trains you to stop asking, trains you to lower your expectations, trains you to accept less, and eventually trains you to self-abandon while calling it love. This silence is not stillness. It is not composed meditation. It is emotional warfare built to disarm your logic and instill fear. Fear that speaking will push them away. Fear that needing will be too much. Fear that love must be quiet to survive. But here is the Napoleon Hill truth bomb. Fear is a state of mind, and it is subject to control and direction. When someone uses silence to control your peace, that is not love. It is emotional punishment. To protect yourself, do not reward silence with loyalty. Do not fill the empty space with more giving. Do not mistake the absence of anger for the presence of love. Learn to recognize silence not just as what is missing, but as what is being used. The avoidance game is subtle but powerful. They operate in shadows, using presence without warmth and silence without kindness. Their strategy is not confrontation. It is confusion, not rejection, but redirection. They shift your attention from what you deserve to what they allow. But now you know. You see through the fog. You hear the manipulation behind the silence. You feel the truth behind the numbness. And in knowing, you take back the power. Most people are busy being busy, not being effective. And in love, this is more dangerous than failure itself. Inspired by Napoleon Hill, avoidants do not reject intimacy with fists. They reject it with calendars, with projects, with chores. Their favorite hiding place? Productivity. They convince you they're not unavailable. They're just busy. Too many things to do, too many people to respond to, too many hours at work, too many distractions. But never enough for you. This isn't coincidence, it's architecture. They build walls made of schedules, not stone. They stay late at work. They drown in tasks. They volunteer to help everyone except the one who loves them. They convince you, it's not that I don't care, I'm just overwhelmed. And so you silence your needs, you wait, you hope, you lower your expectations, you adjust yourself to fit the crumbs of their time. But here's the truth. True intimacy doesn't require hours, it requires presence. Avoidants fear intimacy because it requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels like weakness to them. So instead they lean into tasks. They wash the car, fix the window, send 50 emails, but they won't ask, how are you really? They'll pay the bills, plan the trip, buy gifts, but never sit still enough to open their soul. This is the illusion of contribution without connection. You think they're trying. You think it's just not the right time. You defend them to your friends. They're just stressed right now. They've got a lot on their plate. No. What they have is a strategy to avoid closeness, to be near you but never in you, to keep their heart behind a firewall of obligations. Here's what Napoleon Hill would say. The successful man is the man who builds a definite chief aim in life and concentrates all his energies toward its attainment. But the avoidance aim is not connection, it is protection. They use effort in every direction except toward your heart. If you feel more connected when they're working than when they're resting, you are not in a relationship, you are in a project. Stop confusing busyness with commitment. Stop mistaking effort for emotional presence. Tasks don't equal touch. Chores don't replace connection. The person who chooses activity over intimacy has already chosen distance over devotion. Hope is a powerful tool in the hands of a sincere man, but a deadly weapon in the hands of the avoidant. Inspired by Napoleon Hill, avoidants don't push you away directly. They keep you just close enough to prevent you from walking away. This is what makes their game so cruel. They never fully disappear. They show up just when you start to detach. They say just enough to spark your hope. They offer crumbs that look like a feast when you're emotionally starving. They say things like, I miss you. I'm just not good at showing emotions. I don't want to lose you. I know I need to change. And so you wait. You forgive. You double your effort because they've given you just enough to believe change is coming, just enough to believe love is possible if you just hang on a little longer. But this is not hope. This is manipulation. The avoidant gives you a preview, never the movie. They offer promises without timelines. They give words, not actions. And every time you move on emotionally, they throw out bait. Not to love you, but to reset your patience. This tactic is called breadcrumbing, and it is built on fear, their fear of closeness, and your fear of letting go. The avoidant may not even know they're doing it. But whether conscious or not, the result is the same. You become a prisoner of potential. You see what they could be. You love their occasional softness. You replay the sweet moments from months ago, and you convince yourself it was real. Chad, it can be real again. But the truth? Hope becomes your prison. Napoleon Hill warned us of this kind of trap in a different way. Faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. The man who cannot define his goal has already lost it. Inspired by Napoleon Hill, an avoidant's favorite language is ambiguity. They speak in haves, maybes, and somedays. They offer you clouds instead of commitments, and like a sailor chasing the horizon, you follow a future that never arrives. They'll say, I care about you, I just don't know what I want right now. Let's just see where this goes. I'm not ready for labels, but I don't want to lose you. Read that again. Every word keeps you hooked without holding you. You are in a relationship without a definition, in a bond without a boundary, and in a story without a plot. Why do they do this? Because clarity demands responsibility, and avoidants fear responsibility like a prisoner fears chains. They want to enjoy you without claiming you and reap the benefits of connection without the cost of commitment. Here's the trap. Their words sound emotionally intelligent. They sound like they're being honest, self-aware, even mature. But what they're really doing is outsourcing the emotional labor to you. Now you're the one carrying the weight of wondering where you stand, hoping they'll be ready one day, waiting for them to make up their mind. This is not a partnership. This is emotional roulette. Napoleon Hill said, "No one can succeed in life without a definite purpose, a burning desire to achieve it, and a plan for its realization." And what is love if not a purpose shared between two people? But the avoidant does not deal in purpose. They deal in pause. They hit the brakes on emotional progression while you press the gas. They live in the gray area and force you to become comfortable with confusion. This is where your growth must begin. Stop accepting vague truths. Stop living on emotional layaway. Start demanding definitions, not because you're needy, but because you're worthy of certainty. That which you chase runs faster, but that which you walk away from loses power. Inspired by Napoleon Hill, the avoidant does not want your stillness. They want your pursuit. They are not addicted to love. They are addicted to being desired without responsibility. Here's how the pattern works. You pull away. They become warmer. You feel hopeful. You come closer. They turn cold again. It's a trap, and they've trained you well. You're being rewarded not for your presence, but for your effort, your chase, your longing, your need to fix the distance. You've become a performer in their arena. You try harder, you love louder, you compromise deeper. Because each time you do, they throw you a bone, a good morning text, a brief call, a moment of vulnerability, and you light up like a starving soul handed a scrap of hope. But this is not intimacy. This is intermittent reinforcement, a proven psychological tactic used in gambling and manipulation. It's how slot machines addict the mind. You're not bonding, you're hoping, and that hope becomes your leash. Napoleon Hill said, "Desire backed by faith knows no such word as impossible." But what happens when your desire is being exploited and your faith is misplaced? You lose power. You forget your worth. You believe that if you just try a little harder, they'll love you right. But here's what they'll never tell you. They love the version of you that chases, not the version that rests. The moment you stand still, stop proving, stop fixing, they pull away. Why? Because rest means you're centered. And a centered person is less controllable. Your peace becomes a threat to their power. So they disturb it with silence, withdrawal, mixed signals until you chase again. And when you do, they reward you, not to keep you loved, but to keep you hooked. Break this loop. You are not here to chase people into giving you the love you already deserve. Your rest should be received with safety, not punished with distance. Love that must be earned through struggle is not love, it's labor. Inspired by Napoleon Hill, stop being the employee of someone else's emotional comfort. You were born to receive love freely, not earn it through endurance. The strongest fear known to man is the fear of being truly seen. Napoleon Hill, reimagined. Avoidants do not fear closeness because they don't care. They fear it because closeness exposes them. Being seen means their wounds come to light. Their inconsistencies get questioned. Their survival mask cracks. And so they build barriers. Humor to deflect seriousness. Sex to replace emotional touch. Intelligence to avoid vulnerability. Busyness to avoid depth. You start to notice it. Every deep conversation is redirected. Every emotionally intimate moment is cut short. Every time you ask, "What's really going on with you?" they disappear behind a wall of vagueness or jokes. They are there, but not reachable. Their body stays, but their heart is behind a locked vault. You ask yourself, am I not safe for them? Am I too much? No, it's not you. It's the reality that being known to an avoidant is too dangerous, because their very identity is often wrapped in avoiding pain, not confronting it. True love is a mirror, and mirrors are terrifying to people who haven't accepted their own reflection. Napoleon Hill taught that self-analysis is the key to all success, but avoidants often run from self-analysis. Because self-analysis leads to vulnerability, and vulnerability feels like exposure. To be known by you would mean admitting they fear abandonment, admitting they feel not enough, admitting they've been hurt. So instead, they keep relationships on the surface, safe, shallow, scripted. They flirt, they charm, they talk in sparkles, but they never let you in. And if you try too hard, they label you as intense, dramatic, or too emotional. But don't be fooled. This isn't about your depth.